Welcome to the new episode of Arts and Culture Stories with Khushboo Bagga. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Padma Bhushan awardee Shri Malika Sarabhai on the podcast with us today. Welcome Malika ji.
Thank you.
Malika ji is a pioneering figure in the realm of Indian dance, theatre and activism. Renowned for her mesmerizing performances in classical Indian dance forms like Bharatnatyam and Kuchipudi, she seamlessly blends tradition with contemporary expressions. Beyond the stage, Malika ji is a powerful voice for social justice and environmental sustainability. As an advocate for women's rights and empowerment, she fearlessly addresses societal issues through her art and activism. Before we go further, I would like to thank our producer of the podcast, Petal Foundation, associate sponsor, Chaulaz Heritage Jewellery, and this episode is proudly presented to you by Olixir Oils, bringing in the essence of purest cold press oil where every seed is pressed with love. So Malika ji, we will start this podcast by asking you a few icebreaking questions. You have to choose either or. Bharatnatyam or Kuchipudi?
Depends. If it's my introspective self, Bharatanatyam. If it's my extroverted self, Kuchipudi.
Okay. Opera or a Broadway show?
Oh, Broadway show, definitely.
Okay. Hollywood films or Indian films?
European.
European. Okay. Any reason for that?
Much more sensitive and much less glitz.
Okay. More real.
Much more, yeah. They take you into the home. They take you into the...
Yeah. Fiction or documentaries?
Fiction.
Ballet or tap dance?
Tap.
Tap dance. Okay. Mum or dad? Like your mom or your dad? You'll not choose?
Can't choose. Can't choose between my right hand and my left hand. Can't choose my favorite color because it depends on what I woke up with that morning. I don't believe in a life of binaries. Sorry.
Agree. No, with this I agree. You can't choose between parents. Of course not. So we would like to hear some anecdotes with your parents, your early life, growing up with your parents.
Neither of my parents ever forced me to take one career or the other. It was the most intelligent thing they did. Because had I been told do this or do that, I would have rebelled. Neither my brother nor I were ever discouraged from asking childlike questions to the most distinguished people who came to our table. We were never told don't be stupid. We could talk to Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan and we could talk to the Nobel laureates, we could talk to the astronauts who came, we could talk to the greatest dancers or greatest painters, and we were encouraged to talk. So that we always felt part of a conversation. Our household was of 4 people, Papa, Amma, my brother Kartikeya and I. All decisions that affected all 4 of us were taken democratically. Even when I was very young, 3 or 4, if for instance the house had to be painted, we had to all agree on a color. It was never I decide, or Papa or Amma would never say that. And if it took 3 days to convince Kartikeya or me, it would still be a decision of consensus, never of anything else. I think these were some of the sort of founding principles that made my life what it is.
Your journey as a dancer and choreographer has been incredibly diverse, and your performances often explore themes of identity, gender, and social justice. Can you discuss how you incorporate these themes into your choreography and what message you aim to convey to your audience through your art?
I think art is one of the most powerful means of communication. If you talk or if you are given a lecture, the audience can put a wall up and say, हाँ हाँ मुझे तो इसके बारे में सब कुछ मालूम है. If you go to a performance and the performance is exciting, then whatever you are saying is subliminally going into the audience's mind. So I can't have a boring performance because the audience will get up and leave. So the performance per se has to be exciting. The interview per se has to be exciting. Whatever one does has to be exciting. And then you can say what you want. But if I go to a performance which is boring by definition and then they're trying to tell me what is good for me, it's most unlikely that I will go in. I see performance as one of the many languages I use. The way I'm talking to you just now in an interview, or the way I write, or if I'm speaking in a lecture to a bunch of teenagers, or a performance. What I am trying to bring to people, I think, is two very different things. One is that most of you, 99.9% of you, do not live the script of your own life. You live a script that society has given you, your parents have given you, your husband has given you, your children have given you.
True.
It is not your script. And most of us do not have the courage to look inwards to find out who is it that I really want to be. Do I want to wear a brand so that somebody will say, "Ah, kitni badi lag raha, kya brand pehni hai?" Is that who I want to be? Do I want to be the dutiful wife so everybody says, you know, such a good girl, Sati Savitri jaisi hai? Is that who I want to be? Who do I want to be? It requires courage to actually do the Atma Manthan that is necessary to find out your own truth. Your own truth might be, yes, I do want to be Sati Savitri.
Yeah.
But you need to find it.
Yes.
So a lot of the work I do, this is one. The second is that the world has to be treated equitably, whether it is human beings to human beings or human beings to nature. We cannot loot people or the world and expect to live a happier life. It's just not possible. Justice, human rights, equity. Equity means what Gandhiji said, enough for everyone's need but not enough for everyone's greed. When you read things like 1% of Indians, the top percent of Indians own 55% of the wealth, and the other 99% don't have enough
below
to
poverty
eat.
line.
What does it mean? What does it mean to have so much money that you're afraid even to step out of your house? That you have to have security to get out? That somebody has you can't drink something because you might be poisoned. You can't wear anything because... And what kind of a life is that? You are kidding yourself if you say that's a happy life. You are really kidding yourself. So this is the other thing that I try and talk to my world, that it is by giving generously, it is by giving, not by taking, that life becomes better. And people are people. Nature is nature. You can't loot. You can't say, you are such and such a caste, I'm going to kill you. Which is what is happening in India today.
True.
You eat this, therefore I kill you. You wear a cap, therefore I kill you. Or you wear something else and therefore I'm going to strip and rape you. This is India today. Who is happier? Everybody lives in fear. I was telling you before we started this interview. Everybody lives in fear of being found out.
Yeah.
Why do you need to hide? What kind of a society are we that we are governed by fear? So my work tries to talk of these issues. And I've now been doing it for the better part of 40 years. And my contemporary work, which speaks of issues since 1990, since I finished the Mahabharata and came back, and having done Draupadi the Mahabharata, realized just how much of an impact just one character could have on women across the world. That I came back and said, this is what I have to do. I have to use my arts to talk about society. And just when I'm feeling really depressed and saying this world is really going to the pots, I'm sitting somewhere and somebody comes and puts a hand on my knee and says, you don't know me. I watched your performance at Lady Shri Ram College in 1991 and I changed my career because of what you said. And today I'm not an advertising photographer, but I photograph tribes that are disappearing.
Wow.
This happens all the time, Khushboo.
time,
And that
I'm
is
sure.
what gives me courage. That is what gives me the reason to continue the work I'm doing. You know, because of my political views, I get a lot of hate mail. I got a lot of hate Instas, hate FB posts. And about 10 years ago, I decided that I would respond to them, to each one. So somebody, you know, with a woman, it's always physical. You see, I'll rape you, or you're a cunt, or you're a prostitute. You know, this is what happens to a woman. It's always about our bodies that we are attacked. I started writing to each one. I said, you know, you have made clear what you feel.
Right.
And I'm giving you that right. I agree with it, don't agree with it, doesn't matter. But I've given you the right to tell me what you feel. Why will you not give me the same right? If I have different views from you, do I not have the right to speak them?
Express it.
Khushboo, at least 50% write back and say, we're very sorry, Malika, when we never realized that you would graciously respond to us. Yes, of course you have the right to feel what you have. So thank you for writing back.
Wow.
You can't fight hate with hate. And you can't fight hate with violence.
What a great thought. Beyond dance, you are also a renowned activist and an advocate for social change. How do you use your platform as an artist to address pressing social issues? Can you also talk about your intersection of art and social change? I think you spoke about it right now only, so we don't repeat this.
So, for instance, many years ago, we created a series of 21 music videos. And the music videos, there were 5 on environmental issues, there were 5 on why boys and girls need to be treated equally, and there were 5 on women's empowerment. The songs became so popular that without realizing what they were singing, and it was like, Devi nahi nahi dasi, mujhe, what was it? Mujhe jaise hona, main hu mere jaisi. Don't make me a Devi and don't make me a Dasi. I am me.
What I am.
I am what I am.
Yeah.
And there were people singing them at weddings.
Wow.
Because of the popularity of the song. Okay. Now, if you go on singing a song even without realizing what the lyrics are,
subconsciously,
exactly,
you're working on
somewhere it's getting in,
yeah,
right? Somewhere it's getting in. And this is what I find about my work, that even people who disagree violently with what I'm saying from stage, somewhere I have got a doubt into their heads.
Your words are in their thoughts. Absolutely. And it's working on them.
It will work on them. At least next time, if I've spoken about rape, next time they pick up the phone, they won't, about the newspaper, they won't say, "Acha, do aurtein rape ho gayi, mujhe jara chai pilana." You know, they will register. It stops being just a headline. And I think that is the power of performance, that is the power of music, that's the power of dance, that's the power of the arts.
True. As a director of Darpan Academy of Performing Arts, you've played a pivotal role in nurturing young talent and promoting arts education. How do you see the role of arts in education and shaping the next generation of artists and cultural ambassadors?
You know, we have taught about 37,000 people in 75 years. This is Darpana's 75th anniversary. And people in theatre, music, dance, folk dance, classical dance, puppetry, and not even 1% become artists.
Oh, why so?
Because they are doing it because it's part of growing up. They are doing it. You know, everybody who studies SSC physics does not become a scientist.
Agree.
I feel very strongly that the kind of sadhana that is required to even do a basic degree in music or dance or theatre, A, teaches you self-confidence.
Yes.
B, it teaches you focus. C, it teaches you to be concentrated. Science has proved that cognitive ability goes up if you learn the arts. And if I can make them better human beings,
definitely,
then it's enough. I don't want them to be dancers. If they want to be, sure.
But not all of them.
But being an artist is a very, very hard life. I mean, stupid people say to me, "आप इतने साल से dance कर रही हो, अभी भी क्यों रियाज करती हो?"
It's a lot of discipline that is required.
I mean, if I didn't do riyaz every single day, how could I perform? It would be an insult to my audience.
True.
It would be taking my audience for granted. And the older one gets, the more riyaz one does, because the higher one sets the bar. Today my bar is much higher than when I was a very young, very bouncy dancer. It's obvious.
Also, arts, I mean, if you're not professionally into it, but also it's a form of self-expression.
It enriches you.
It is cathartic. Yes,
Absolutely.
it enriches your soul. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, why should everything become a profession? You can do things, I mean, I'm learning Mridangam and Chenda just now.
Wow.
I'm not going to become a Chenda player, but
Yeah.
the joy I
Just
get
for the
out
love
of
of
it.
it,
The
yeah.
joy, the sort of oxytocin that it lets out in my brain, the serotonin that it lets out in my brain, these are proved scientific phenomena. Why is it that some of the greatest Nobel scientists also play the piano or also draw or also paint? It is because it's the right and the left brain working together.
A balance of both.
Yes.
You've been involved in a wide range of artistic endeavors throughout your career. What are some of your most recent works or collaborations that you're particularly excited about and why? Or it could be something outside of theatre and dance also.
We have just created an Indo-Italian collaboration of Shakespeare's Macbeth.
Of course, I'll interrupt you, I'm sorry. My daughter just saw it with her friends.
Okay.
And it was breathtaking, she said. And your performance, of course, I mean, we are nobody to even tell you. But
No, how wonderful. Did she come with one of the schools?
Yes, one of the schools. Yeah.
How wonderful. I'm delighted.
Yeah.
Well,
and she couldn't recognize. She was like, Mama, is she Malika Sarabhai? I said, yeah, bete Google, she's the one. She said, Mama, really? Because she looked so different. I was like, that's the, that's the beauty of it. Yeah.
No, so we just get, Khushboo, I've realized while we were doing Macbeth that professional theatre in India in the original Shakespearean language has not been done for 30 or 40 years. Adaptations have been done, language adaptations, people creating modern language. But Shakespeare endures after 500 years because of the beauty of the language. But the other barrier is that we see an American doing it. ऐसे भी accent समझ में नहीं आता, फिर Shakespearean accent तो बिल्कुल समझ में.
Yeah.
Here were 38 Indians doing the original Shakespeare language in a production that people could relate to. I mean, your daughter is exactly my audience.
Okay.
That's who I want to communicate the joy of live theatre, the joy of Shakespeare, the sort of marvel of it. So we are very much hoping that we can go nationally and ignite this in young people.
Sure.
Because they study Shakespeare in school, a bad teacher who doesn't know Shakespeare's pentatonic rhythms might teach it, mar jata hai.
Yeah, and she's talking about it. Like now, every day something she has, from the show she has to tell something. Mama, this was like this. Mama, this was. Even if it's not about the show, about the audience or something, she has to tell me. So it definitely left an impact, and I'm glad that the schools are taking children for such kind of shows.
As a parent, you should write to the school.
Yes.
Or as a parent, you must discuss it like this because most parents think it's a waste of time. They do not understand the enriching experience of a live performance, especially in a place like Natrani where you can practically touch the actors. It's very different from looking at something on the screen.
Of course.
There is a great detachment here.
Yeah.
And yet our
it's
children...
It's a soul-to-soul connection because it's so closer and you feel the vibe of it, the energy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So it's a very different, and to have children experience that. I mean, so many of the children who came to us and said, we've never seen a live performance.
Yes.
And for a 15 or 16-year-old to say they've never seen a live performance is
shame.
Really a shame.
Yeah.
That they either go to movies or they see things on TV or they see things on their phone.
True.
And yet live is just so different. It's like not having only ticks on Facebook, blue ticks, but actually having a friend you can hug.
Yeah. So true.
That's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah. As a dancer and choreographer, how do you stay relevant and innovative while also honoring traditional dance forms and techniques? Are there any approaches or styles you are experimenting with?
I've just created a new show called Past Forward, which is looking at how the heroine, the Naika, who is the center of Bharatanatyam, has changed from the 12th century till 2024. When did the Naika become the person who said to the Supreme Being, I'm not going to wait around for you always. If you think that I'm going to just hang around waiting and that you can go off with somebody else, you're mistaken. When did she become that? When did she stop being, I long for you, when will you come?
Yeah.
I cannot
That
eat.
Abla Nari,
I
no more of
cannot
that.
sleep,
Yeah.
etc., etc. When did she change? However, I, as a Bharatanatyam dancer, changed her.
Okay.
So it's a show you should see. It's exactly that. How do I use tradition? It's pakka Bharatanatyam all the way through. But I'm dancing to rap music.
Okay.
I'm dancing to rap music. This was a piece that I created with the people who created the Gully Boys music.
Okay.
MC Todford and Vivek Rajagopal.
Great.
They run something called the Tadhom project.
Okay.
And I went, and it's a piece called Chup. It is the way Indian girls are brought up. But it's done in complete Bharatanatyam. I think the limitations are limitations we place. The language is extremely sophisticated. Just as you and I can speak like this in English, or we can speak in abuses, the language is the same.
Right.
Whether I use the F word or whether I use the L word, love, depends on me. It's not the language. It's the same. How can people using the same paints paint a miniature on one side and something very contemporary? The paint is the same, the medium is the same, everything is the same.
True.
So the limitation is our imagination. The limitation is entirely where we dream, and if we have something to say. I always have something to say because I see so much injustice in the world. I see so much that is wrong. I see so much unhappiness. I see so much potential that is killed. That if I can reach out through your podcast to 5 people to ask the question, who do I really want to be? What do I really want to live? What do I want to leave in this?
True.
What is the legacy? Is the legacy one of generosity and kindness? Can I bring a smile to your face? Can I bring a smile to another face today? Because that's really what life is about. Not about whether I have 5 cars.
Okay.
I only have 1 bum. What do I do with 5 cars?
Actually.
And if I think that a car is a status symbol, then I have to rethink. Because status can only come by the person you are. Everything else is a false status. वो कार चली जाएगी तो आप गिर जाओगे.
Yeah.
मेरे अंदर मैं जो, nobody can take that away.
True.
And I think one needs to question oneself every day. One needs to ask oneself every day, how can I be more generous? Did I do yesterday something that hurt somebody?
Yeah.
If so, can I go and repair it today? Can I go and say, I'm sorry, I was in a bad mood. I yelled at you. I shouldn't have. Please accept my apology.
I totally agree with you. Even if it reaches to 5 people or 10 people, if your voice is heard, you know, it would be lovely.
That's 5
I would be happy
transformations.
to what
Isn't
I
it?
am doing, and that's why this podcast.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for joining us. Now, time for some fun questions.
Okay.
If your father were here today and had witnessed your life journey up until today, what do you reckon he would say to you in retrospect?
Ha ha, you thought you wouldn't nation build? What you're doing is exactly that.
Okay. If you could choreograph a flash mob in any location in the world, where would it be, and what song would you choose to get everyone moving?
It would probably at the moment be with Sonam Wangchuk in Ladakh,
Okay.
talking of freedom.
Okay.
Hame chahiye azadi. Kamla Bhasin, my colleague and beloved friend, wrote that song. It's used across the nation as freedom from poverty, freedom from greed, freedom from ugliness, freedom from cruelty. That is the azadi we want. The azadi to be able to think outside the social norms, the azadi to be able to face the truth, the azadi to be humane, not only human beings.
True.
That's my flash mob.
Lovely. If you could perform a duet with any historical figure, living or deceased, who would it be, and what dance style would you choose for your collaboration?
I think my dance style, my strongest dance style is Bharatanatyam. It gives me the greatest possibility of contemporariness. Who would I choose to dance with? That I'm not sure. Probably an African dancer whose name I would not even know. Because I find, in general, African dancers the most magnificent.
The tribal dance are you talking about,
That-
or the
that-
contemporary?
No, the tribal dancing, that they're and what they do contemporary. I've had the privilege of working with several black dancers, and just seeing them move is, kya baat hai.
Yeah. They're not conscious, they are what
but
they are, and
yeah.
they just love it. They dance with their soul, and it's beautiful to watch that.
And just that, the way the body moves,
Yeah.
it's just...
It sways. If you could have a dance off with any celebrity, who would it be, and what dance style would you challenge them to do?
Why would I want a dance off with anybody? I just
Why
said...
not? Just for the fun?
Uh,
Maybe not Bharatnatyam, maybe...
dance off with somebody, I'd love to do it with Michael Jackson.
Wow. Okay. And what would you do?
I'd get him to do Bharatanatyam and I would get me to do his work.
Wow. The moonwalk.
The moonwalk.
Okay, great. You can do it, I'm sure. But I don't know about Michael Jackson, if he could do Bharatnatyam. I'm not sure about that. But he was a legend, of course.
Yeah, amazing mover. Again, black. Black
Yeah,
dancers.
black. Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, dear Malika ji, for your time. I would like you to sign this ceramic plate for us.